Hello, my name is Jeremy Norris. I'm an educator in Baltimore. I'm a graduate student at Loyola's Educational Technology program, and this video, while technically is an assignment response, I've also kind of bent it in the hopes that anybody who finds it, educator, uh, student, parent, citizen, whoever finds it, perhaps finds this a little inspiring, could take the information and help apply it to their own inspirations for their classroom or their work. Let's get started. So the technicals, I guess. This, of course, is my response for my ET690 project. 10 Principles of Technology Use in Education, an update to Postman's 1995 tome. So, of course, we're bending this into the ISTE educator standards, and I have to acknowledge the elephant in the room of trying to find the new normal right now under COVID-19, and perhaps that's why this is a little bit of an assignment bend into that as well. So we right now as educators have to find ourselves in a huge mindset change and allow ourselves the grief of what was supposed to happen. I'm a performance-based educator. All the concerts that we had planned, the musicals, the moments in these rehearsals with our students that we don't get to have, how do we grieve that? And I think one of the ways to do it is to, of course, find this new normal and not worry about so much of what was supposed to happen, but acknowledge what is. And what is right now, it's just a little bit scary. We're in a horror movie sort of situation, I think, right now, where Sandra Bullock's Bird Box took away sight and A Quiet Place took away talking, and now we've taken away human contact. There's no more high fives and handshakes and side hugs as our students enter our classrooms. We're having to figure out how to do that on this little itty bitty screen while also acknowledging all of the things that make this hard and what our classrooms were allowed to do. But we need to recognize that this is just, a dangerous moment for us to be in person. And so we have to be careful and recognize that we are okay. We're just experiencing a format change. And I really mean that. I mean, this is going to get posted to YouTube, but remember when we used to save it here? This is actually just a coaster. It's not even a real one. My point is that it's just a format change, right? The high five. And what I mean by that is we turn and certainly watch a lot of Netflix and everything right now. I invite you to watch the show The 100. Maybe a little too dystopian for right now, but look, the actors and the writers of the show already provided us a way for the format change of the high five, where, instead of course, two hands coming together, we stand and recognize each other this way and just have to have that physical approach change. So as we're updating Postman's to the ISTE, we're changing our format for him. We're changing the format for pretty much everything we do. And perhaps I would invite you as a prologue to absorb these amazing things that I find very inspiring. As educators now, it's what we're making, right? We used to be able to rely on our classrooms and rely on our human contact. And now in a real way, we have to make sure that these videos are getting recorded. And I'm so inspired by Shovels and Rope, one of my favorite bands. They have a great song, Birmingham. From the Crescent City to the Great Salt Lake, it ain't what you got, it's what you make. And in a real way, I loved watching this documentary of theirs, explaining when that song almost happened. And in a real way, it is what we're making right now. We can't make the space anymore. The artifacts, the things we're creating, this video itself, not to get too meta, but is the thing that we're making. And so in that way, we need to recognize that we're doing our best. And for me right now, I'm even a little nervous speaking, because I invite you to watch this video on Vimeo. It's titled The Gap. Somebody animated an Ira Glass speech. And it's our taste. It's the thing that got us into this. As educators, we went through college, we went through all of our own personal education when we were inspired by these teachers, and we have our view of what this should look like. And now it's so different as we're trying to change this format. And I look to not only educators that are doing this well, but also artists. And so I'm trying my best, and I hope this video is coming across well, but The two artists that I'd want to highlight is, of course, Adam Neely. I've been enjoying his content for the longest time, as well as Pamplemousse. I'm trying to make something that looks like that, where we almost have a format change of what an assignment can be. No longer an APA-style paper, but perhaps somewhere between a TED Talk and a PowerPoint. But even things like this tome from, I'll zoom in, this tome from Chef Gauze at the food market, where, you know, he created his restaurant, and then even as it says right there, at home, you know, we can start making these things and start to emulate and start to have our own creations. And I just want to know that I'm inspired by these three people as I'm trying to make my own in my classroom. ISTE educator standards. The learner. Oops. It's good. I'm not going to lie. I just really do believe it's a redefinition of many of these things that we've been speaking through this cohorted program. The learner, obviously, when we start looking at student-centered education and universal design for learning, we have to recognize the teacher is the lead learner in the room. And what better moment for us to be the learner that we're trying to figure this out? Here's this Screencast-O-Matic for free. I'm trying my best to use it as a format and create and go from there. We need to have our leaders stepping up and helping us figure this out, and be leaders ourselves and co-leaders, and really just citizens. We need to recognize that these times are very different and very a new normal is being set. You know, we need to recognize that we're collaborators in this. So I really do believe that we all need to just step back on, you know, copyright and legal things, and whether or not we can be on Zoom with our students and all of this stuff. We're finding a new way. Let's pump the brakes and figure out how to be good collaborators and create and design good curriculum to facilitate our classrooms, and all at the same time, we have to analyze. And just like Ira Glass spoke, our taste, that thing that got us into this, the thing that wanted us to be those conductors on the podium, and those people that our students need us to be, we have to recognize that as all this is happening, we have a huge filter and a huge background of information that really can almost be a moment of option paralysis, and a moment of, as we try and find the best, we need to understand that we need to give ourselves that grace to develop this. How I lined Postman's, and you know, for the people who don't have access to this, you know, here's what those are, and if you wanted to pause, you could look at it. Zoom in, I guess. This is this button. I won't read them to you. I thought the learner kind of went to those principles of 1, 9, and 10, the leader 9 and 10, citizen 2 and 3, collaborator 6, 7, and 8, 1, 3, 5, and 6, 8 for the designer, facilitator 2, 5, 7, and analyst 4, 6, and 7. I wanted to zoom in on these three and provide my commentary. All technological change is a Faustian bargain. Yes, I'm a musician, I'm an educator. I've known this for a very long time. You get a mouthpiece for your brass instrument that helps you play at a higher register, you're going to have a problem staying low and getting those low tones and being good. I want to be in my classroom. This isn't the way I want to do it. So what's the way that I can make a better version, right? If the loss is my classroom, is there a way to include the techniques of this technology to improve? Number 9 there, because of the conditions we have to, in which we attend to them, different technologies have different social biases. We're running into this as a huge equity problem right now. You know, different counties and states deciding what they're going on, whether they're going to continue the school year with technology. I just saw a headline that Baltimore might consider, or Maryland might consider, year-round school. And what is that going to look like? But I think the recognition, and especially his warning from '95 about this, the equity, and because of their technical and economic structure, different technologies have different content biases. And I think, you know, you can go right now and probably find a gift recipe of how to make any of these things, but owning the tome is really important. Um, the the recognition that perhaps I'm recording this on a 2018 MacBook Pro. Um, that's ridiculously expensive for what it does. And where's the equity in that? Just because some company was allowed to afford this for me, that how can we as educators also try and improve what we have? And recognizing that perhaps right now the bottom line of sort of this late stage capitalism needs to recognize that we have some other things going on, lives, the future for our students, trying to help these things out. And I'm sure any of the Loyola professors are tired of me using this quote, but I keep coming away that all of those things, that's being a producer. And famously, you've got Johnny Cash and Tom Petty talking to Rick Rubin in this Rolling Stones photo. We have to turn up and recognize our students' gifts, and in such a way that now we have to do it without being able to be in the room. I wanted to do my classroom in a hybrid way, and if we're going to make any big changes, I would suggest maybe 2 days in person and 3 days, in a flipped classroom setting. But we have to produce all those words: learner, leader, citizen, facilitator, designer, collaborator, analyst. Those are all just being the producer, sitting there with all of the filters and all of the information and all of the inspiration that we've had since our time of becoming educators, and finding what knobs to turn up in our students, where to bring the volume up, where to bump the bass, as it were. I'm trying. This is my attempt. Thank you. Please like and subscribe for more content. And in a real way, be safe. And perhaps if you're an educator, I want to keep the conversation going, so hit me up. Feel free to email. I'll put all the tags in the description and comments. Thank you. Be well. Much love.